Hello, Namaskar. Welcome you to the SAAR Analysis. I am Chaman Nayak and here's my take. What if the most consensual geopolitical event this week isn't happening in Washington, Beijing or Brussels, but across Indonesia, Australia and New Zealand? Because over the next 6 days, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Indonesia, Australia and New Zealand, with a diplomatic sequence that may quietly reshape the balance of power across Indo-Pacific. Well, this isn't just another foreign tour, it is a strategic message and we are here to dig that. Let's dig it out. Here's what data speaks about and here's what it stands out. This will be the first visit by any Indian Prime Minister to New Zealand in nearly 40 years. Well, Australia remains one of the fastest growing strategic and critical mineral partners, and Indonesia control world's most important maritime choke point, and it is quietly emerging as a global leader in nickel. Well, it is an essential source for electric vehicle of an economy. Now, here we have to think 3 countries, 1 ocean and 1 strategy. Now here's what evidence speaks about, and this evident reality is that India is no longer conducting diplomacy country by country, it is building the strategic corridors. While Indonesia sits at the gateway of Malacca Strait through which a quarter of the global trade passes, while Australia provides critical minerals, defense corporations and maritime security, while New Zealand expands India's footprint in South Pacific while strengthening its economic ties through recently signed free trade agreement. Well, individually this relationship matters, but collectively they form Indo-Pacific network that strengthen India's influence across trade, security, supply chain and most importantly regional governance. Now the question arises why this is important. Because in geopolitical competition, Indo-Pacific is no longer defined only by the military deployment. It is increasingly dependent or driven by the trusted supply chain, resilient economies, maritime connectivity, and most importantly, it is determined by the strategic partnership. Well, as the global business seeks alternatives to concentrated manufacturing hubs, nation diversify these critical mineral sources, and India is positioning itself as a central pillar of that transition. For Australia, India represents long-term economic and security partner. For Indonesia, the cooperation strengthen regional stability and maritime security, and for New Zealand, this deeper engagement open access to world's largest consumer market while expanding its political cooperation in Indo-Pacific. Well, this too signals that India's foreign policy is becoming broader, more coordinated and increasingly focused on shaping a regional order, but not by simply responding but reacting to it. Now here's my take. The headlines will focus on bilateral meetings, joint statements, ceremonial diplomacy, but the real story lies beneath them. India is quietly weaving together a network of strategic relationships across Indo-Pacific, one that combines economy, security, technology and maritime influence. While in geopolitics, influence is rarely built through dramatic announcement, it is built through consistent partnership, and this 3-nation tour suggests that India is no longer just participating in Indo-Pacific conversation, it is positioning itself to help define the regional future. Well, that's all from today's analysis. I will be back with another episode. Till then, thank you for watching this.